Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. So today, since there's only a couple days left in the year, I wanted to kind of reflect on this past decade. I've gone through a lot. I've done a lot. For most of this decade, I didn't feel like I had accomplished much at all. But thinking about, okay, what am I going to talk about today? I realized that I really did a whole lot. I did everything in life that I wanted to do, which is kind of funny because I kind of just fell into it. So I'm going to go down the list. So 2010. 2010 was the start of this decade. 2010, I've said, has been like the best year of my life. It's the best year of my life because I met J. Cole. I did not meet him this time. I was basically as close to him as his camera is to me, and I was so scared I didn't say anything. And he came to my school to perform for what they called Al Fresco. Funny thing was, it was Al Fresco, and then there were protests about education. And I went to class, and our class was going to protest. And so as soon as they passed by J. Cole and where he's performing at, I was like, I'm going to catch y'all later. I'm going to catch this show because I've been dying to see him. 2010 Al Fresco, October 7th, actually, to be exact. Saw J. Cole. He performed mixtape songs, which I love so much. He performed stuff from the come up. He performed stuff from the warm up. He performed, and then later on in the year, I took my mom and my sister to see Prince. And so that was like a once in a lifetime kind of thing, because apparently Prince had been touring and doing shows, pop-up shows in the Bay Area. Never got to catch them. So this one time where we did get to catch them, another funny thing about Prince is that Prince is my cousin on my mom's side. We got to see him together because I always grown up listening to his music, always grown up hearing about how my mom liked him, had a big crush on him, and then found out he was her cousin, and it just killed it. There was that. Then a couple months after that happened, going to see Prince, Kendrick Lamar and Ryan Leslie performed at my school, among other artists too, like Theophilus London, the Yin Yang Twins, Diplo DJ, like a slew of people. I was most excited about Kendrick Lamar and Ryan Leslie. Kendrick Lamar hurt my heart because he did not have a big group. He was like one of the openers. There were like a handful of people out there, but he performed Section 80 songs, and I just was like, in love. And then Ryan Leslie, I waved to him. It was really weird because I'm up on a hill and looking down, and I see Ryan Leslie getting out the car, and I'm like, Ryan! And I wave, and security goes to grab me. I'm like, I'm nowhere near him. I'm up on a hill. He's down, on the ground level, about to walk through buildings to get up here. Like, I'm not a threat. But I got to wave at him. He waved back. That was like one of the biggest moments of my life because I have been a Ryan Leslie fan since like the early 2000s. And for me to be able to see him and him perform songs from, I think it was Less is More at that time. But yeah, stuff from his self-titled album, Transitions, which I used to listen to both of those every day. Like my freshman year of college, me and my friend Jamel used to talk about Ryan Leslie and show each other how to play different songs that we learned on the piano. And a lot of them, for the most part, were Ryan Leslie tunes because we both were like giant fans. Jamel actually got to meet him because he covered one of his songs. It was like a contest the school had. He covered one of the songs, and I was super jealous, but I didn't want to put my voice out there. 2010 was definitely a big year for me, seeing the favorite artists of mine. I never thought that I'd ever have that opportunity to see not just one, but quite a few. And then the thing with Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole is that it has continued through the years. I am a big J. Cole fan. I have my For Your Eyes Only shirt on. I was front and center for that concert for two different shows. J. Cole, I actually got to meet him in person 2013. And I learned my lesson from 2010. I told myself at that time when he was super close to me that I'll never miss an opportunity to speak to an artist that I liked that was that close. And so he had a show at the Warfield in San Francisco. I got a meet and greet, and this was the first like big celebrity for me that I ever got to meet. And I was like, I hope I don't go to jail. How am I going to act when I see him? Because I saw other people in line. There was about maybe 100 of us that got meet and greets. And as the line was going, girls were like, oh my God, he just hugged that girl and screaming. And I'm like, okay, it's not that serious, We're going to have our time. But it just was interesting to see how I reacted to him, and that I brought up the fact that he had performed at my school, and I remember, all of what was going on, and he remembered it too. And so he gave me a hug, and I was like, okay, we can't hug for this long because it's going to be a problem. He smells so good. I don't remember what he smells like, but I did draw a picture for him. I did give it to him, and it was so, I don't even have the words to express it, but just so nice to see the gratitude that he had when I gave him the picture that I spent so much time on. And then I had a dream that he folded it up and put it in his pocket, and it just was forgotten about, and then like washed in his pants, and I was upset. And I was like, if that's what really happened to my drawing, so be it. Things happen. But the other thing was that, I put my phone number in the bag, anti-thirst font, and I was just like, I wrote him a little note that said, I really like your music. I'm graduating this year, and your music is a major reason why I was able to continue in my education and not give up. I hope he read it. But as far as calling me or whatever, that was all the way out. He's never used it. And I kept my number the same just in case he decided to call. Let's see some other things that I have done over this decade. All right, Golden State Management. So Golden State Management is an artist development and management company in the Bay Area, and I had the opportunity to work with them. There was a point in time where we had about 10 artists on the roster that I was helping with. I kind of went from like intern to basically like assistant manager, so to speak, and it showed me a lot about the music industry. It had always been my dream to be involved in the music industry. I never wanted to be like a singer or producer or any of that. I just wanted to be involved, and I got the opportunity to do that in a few capacities, like setting up studio time for the artists. I found out that through scheduling these studio sessions and just going in and out the studio with the artists that I had worked with or had befriended, that I was working with Grammy award-winning producers, not necessarily working with them, but meeting them, spending time with them in the studio, and going to their actual studios. It was crazy to me to learn that. One studio I went to, there were plaques on the wall for this producer who had worked with Prince, with Raphael Sadiq, with Mary J. Blige. He had credits on the Brown Sugar soundtrack. Craziness. We had a mixtape release party in his studio outside of just going there to record. I was like, wow. Had his number in my phone, didn't even know who it was until I looked him up, and I was just like, he's somebody serious. And there was also another person who is credited for his music being sampled by Jay-Z, Puff Daddy, Rick Ross, a whole bunch of people, and he's getting royalty checks still. He has a studio in Oakland. It was basically like our home base, and he's really, really cool. I didn't know who I was dealing with. Didn't talk about it. The most humble guy, coolest dude you ever meet. You don't want to box him because he will knock you out. He saw me go through college and finish, and he's like, I'm super proud of you. And to have somebody, I feel like at that caliber, that I never ever would have probably met just regularly in life, that was so involved in music in the Bay Area and just in general, I thought that was cool for him to be concerned about me and proud that I was finishing my degree program and graduating with my bachelor's. Also during this time working with these artists and producers and being in the studio, I co-produced a song. I played the keys for it, and I also did background vocals for my friend's song, which I thought was pretty cool. It was really weird recording because let me just be honest. I can't stand my voice, and I hate being in front of the camera. This is easy for me to do because there's not a bunch of people in the background. If I mess up, I could just cut it out. But I used to get anxiety, like being in front. Like I didn't even want to, when I worked in news, be caught on camera on accident. When the cameras used to move across the floor, it just freaked me out. Anything live freaked me out. So yes, this is not live, so I can manage. Doing the background vocals and recording in front of people, I just was like, okay, I can't do it. But I actually did do it. I had them turn all the lights out in the studio, and I turned around so nobody could see me, and record the vocals, and I have that little memory. So I failed to mention some of the names of the artists that I did work with or that I had interviewed and that I just was around all the time. So there was Young Bari, I Am Soon, HBK Gang, Cool John, Shoy for Mayor, The Diligence, Plain Jane, ST Spittin', Cock Pistol Cree from LA, Problem, Hilo, J Ant, just to name a few. Irk the Jerk, D Bledsoe. Shout out to D Bledsoe for being the first artist to let Cali Visual interview them. I had a blog. I felt like because I work with these Bay Area artists and I saw them from time to time, I could help give a platform that they didn't necessarily have to pay for to get their music out and be an outlet. So I created with a friend of mine, Cali Visual, and I ended up running just like the music part. And it ended up becoming just music, just a music blog, but created Cali Visual, and a lot of people thought it was a guy that ran it. And so I like to keep that mystique, because if they found out it was a girl or a female, they probably wouldn't have been too inclined, or it probably would have went a completely different way. But I am really grateful that it did have the little run that it did, and that it was acknowledged. So thank you for those that did follow the blog, that did share the content and send content too. I don't know if anybody is familiar with FBCC. I work with a shoe customizer who actually ended up getting his own storefront in Oakland. He had customized shoes for like Cam Newton, did a bunch of stuff for Steph Curry. He had a pop-up shop at a space in Oakland called Soul Space, where Seth Curry came, and I got some footage of that. And just being in the background and seeing how his dreams and visions have manifested kind of inspired me, because I was in a rut about my dreams and aspirations and where I was trying to go. Video production has always been my thing. I've loved it so much. It's been my dream pretty much since I was 10. And I've learned a lot of lessons with this, but I've tried so much to get exposure and like finesse my way into these circles where I can build in my portfolio. It's definitely been an interesting time. Definitely been an interesting story to tell. Oh, another thing that happened. So I was at Kendrick Lamar's All Right video shoot. I just happened to stumble upon that too. It was crazy because To Pimp a Butterfly came out. I took a break from listening to J. Cole. Yes, believe it, I do take a break from listening to J. Cole, y'all. I took a break from listening to J. Cole, and I was listening to Pimp a Butterfly like all day, every day. And so one of my coworkers was like, there's some people recording on the island. I used to work on Treasure Island in San Francisco. There's some people recording on the island. You'll be interested to know who it is. And I was like, who is it? Told me it was Kendrick Lamar. So I was like, oh shoot. Me and my coworker went and walked over there to where they were setting up, and I saw the TDE trailer. I saw this guy come out with a TDE sweatshirt on, and I was like, so is Kendrick Lamar over here? And he was like, nah. I felt so lied to, because I'm like, dude, I see the trailer that says TDE. I see the hoodie that says TDE. So you're going to tell me there's nobody from TDE here? You're going to tell me Kendrick Lamar is not here? And then I waited. I started talking to people, and I was like, yeah, I heard Kendrick Lamar is going to be over here. And actually ended up talking to the guy that was responsible for set locations. And I was asking him questions about like how he got into his particular job, like what route he took, because I'm a videographer and I'm interested in kind of breaking into the field, and I don't know what to do or how to get into what. I believe his name was Lindsay. I was talking to him, asking him questions, and he was like, yeah, we're doing Kendrick Lamar's video shoot. And I was like, oh, really? He told me I could be in the video, but I was like, do I go to work? Do I be part of the video? Do I risk losing my job to be part of the video? I'll stay and watch, but I gotta go back to work. But I definitely learned from early on in 2010 to about, that was maybe 2014, 2015, to seize the moment. These moments, they don't come back again. I missed out on talking to J. Cole, and I was like, never again. The next time I see him, I'm definitely gonna say something and not be so shy. I took a risk and was talking to the location manager, or whatever his title was, and then, he openly was like, invite, come be part of the video. And I was like, dang it, no. But had I taken that opportunity, man, who knows where I'd be. But I just felt like it was cool enough for me to be front and center and seeing all this stuff happen. Just to be exposed to, a higher caliber artist, not to diminish the ones that I worked with in the Bay Area, because I think some of the people in the Bay are very dope. But someone that has so much exposure, to see the way he did his videos and stuff, was pretty dope. As many people know, I'm a big J. Cole fan, and I just so happened to stumble upon his mentors. I did my research. I heard about this duo, Bomb Shelter. They were, what he said, like the dopest artists in the Ville. I found them on Twitter and I followed them, and I got to follow back. And that was like a pivotal moment in my life, because I was like, I know a person that knows J. Cole personally. That's like a reach away. So like, that was super exciting to me. How could I forget? One thing that I experienced over this past decade was, learning how to DJ and learning how to DJ on Chewy Gomez DJ equipment. Chewy Gomez is a radio personality. I did intern at CMC, California Music Channel, for some time, and I got to run into him on a regular basis. And he actually busted me out, pulled me in front of the camera to tell the world, or all the viewers, about their number one J. Cole fan that was at the station, and he basically outed me in front of California.
What's going on? I got J. Cole on the way. Yeah. Why am I excited about J. Cole? Normally I'm not excited, but we got this intern that worked down here. She love her some J. Cole. Come over here and say hi to the folks.
That was an experience, but shout out to the boy Dame for teaching me how to DJ on his equipment. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, who else gets to learn how to DJ on the equipment of somebody that the Bay Area loves? On my quest to make video production my full-time job, there was a point in time where I quit my full-time job working on the island to freelance as a videographer, and I had the opportunity to work with a bunch of different local PEG stations, and PEG is public education and government TV stations all over the Bay Area. One station in particular that I really love working with was KCOM, and my supervisor there, Kenya, she is just an angel. She has become my mentor. She's been doing this video production thing for quite a long time and explained to me kind of how it's been for her being not only just a woman in film, but an African-American woman in film, and working in an area where you may be one of like a handful of Black people that either work or live in that cities. She gave me a lot of guidance. She saw something in me, or a few things in me, that I didn't even see in myself. Like, she told me about how dope she thought I was as a videographer and, you know, as an editor, and just how I paid attention to detail. And that attention to detail killed me when I got into news, because you don't have time to make everything pretty or as pretty as you would like. She exposed me to this documentary film conference called Docs Get Real that I actually attended with her in Los Angeles, and it just was so fun to be around other creative people that aren't just in general creative, or, you know, musicians and musically inclined, but that focus on the same kind of thing that you do. I had a bunch of different documentary ideas, and I actually got to have a one-on-one with a movie producer, and I thought it was so cool because I actually seen his work. One of the movies that he produced was Why Do Fools Fall in Love, the story about Frankie Lyman, and I watched that a lot. It was nice to talk to him and get feedback from him on my documentary ideas, and just to connect with him. Like, he gave me his card. It was like, you know, it was really nice talking to you, and let's stay connected. It just was really encouraging. And then I met other people in the Bay Area too that were doing the same thing, and so we didn't really get to connect because some of them, like, this was their full-time thing. They just focused on their own production companies and whatnot. I freelanced, but I was more so worried about how to pay these bills. So I was working a lot. I was working like 3 jobs at the time. So I didn't get to connect with people like I wanted to. But it was definitely a nice opportunity. And, you know, I hope to be back again so that I could reconnect with some of those people that were there, and maybe even have a project to show next time, or maybe a project that's a little more thought out. But yes, Kenya is awesome. I was so heartbroken when I had to leave, when I got a full-time job in news, especially because I didn't get to spend as much time with her. Working there was the most fun that I've ever had. Like, work didn't seem like work, and I hope to find something like that again at some point. Man, we worked on a park renovation documentary. I worked on public service announcements for the police department, fire department, even for like AC Transit and stuff. Adding more things to my resume to say that I did 2010 to 2020. It's just been a lot. I finished my bachelor's degree during that time. I applied to grad programs three times. Got declined twice, got waitlisted twice, got accepted once, and now I'm 1 quarter away from finishing my master's degree, which never saw this coming. Me and school have a love-hate relationship, so I loved it when I got in, hated it when I got to class. I kind of learned how to ask for help. I hate asking for help, but I did learn it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to kind of network. Networking had been a big issue for me, because I was just like, I have to come out here, basically put my business out and ask these people for help, and what? And I'm still learning that. Moving to a different state has kind of gotten me to my learning edge and out of my comfort zone, and like got me out there to speak up about, okay, where am I at? What am I trying to do? Oh, you work here? Oh, I've been trying to get into there. Like, how can I do that? Can you refer me for a job? I would have never done that before. I remember one time in particular, I was talking to a friend who actually worked with E40's sister, and I was like, she's looking for a videographer. Like, I can be that person. So he gave me her number, and I was scared to call her. And then one time I called her, she answered, and I hung up. And I was just like, okay, I'm not ready for that. Clearly, if I can't have a conversation with her on the phone, Like, this is not what I need to be doing. And I was hoping that the phone will go to voicemail so I could leave her a message. I just felt like calling again. I was doing a lot. Yeah, I definitely learned to, network with people, because that's how your network is your net worth. Shoot, just being me unapologetically. That's what I learned. Did I learn anything else? Family. Okay. So also over the course of this decade, I met other family members that I never knew I had. What sucks is that when I would go visit my grandparents in New York, there was family around the corner, and I never knew. I always thought it was just me and my uncles on that farm, and all I had to do all summer was ride a bike in a circle and take turns riding the bike, and then going to feed cows. That was my summer. I never knew there was family nearby, and it wasn't until my Nana's funeral that I saw that I had family that lived nearby in neighboring cities, and I'm like, wow, you guys never came to visit. Like, I never knew you guys existed. So then I ended up meeting other family, went to a family reunion, and it was so nice to see that I had cousins that were my age. Cousins my age with children, but cousins my age nonetheless. Also, I visited the elders in my family. One person in particular, my Aunt Beck, who was my grandfather's aunt. I got to visit her and spend time with her before she passed away, which meant the world to me. We spent about a year talking on the phone. I would call and check on her sometimes. And then when I went to North Carolina to see J. Cole, I made the drive down to Pamplico to see her and spent time with her, and met some of my other family members that lived out there, learned about some crazy family history. Just connected with her. She never even knew about me, which was crazy. She knew about my dad, but she didn't know my dad had kids and didn't know that I was the oldest. And so I was able to kind of bridge that information gap and spend time with her before she passed away. So that meant a lot to me. I did learn not to work so hard. I mentioned earlier that I had 3 jobs at the time. I don't know if anybody caught that, but I've always been the type of person to overwork myself, overextend myself, burn the candle from both ends, as my parents like to say. Shoot, the candle shines so much brighter that way. No, I'm just playing. But yeah, I've learned to to look out for me. That's one thing that I tried to do differently from undergrad versus grad school, even though grad school is more professional. During my undergrad years, it was just school, homework, work, and home life and chores and all that stuff. I never got to have a lot of fun. And so this time around, I promised myself that I wouldn't focus too much on work, and I try to live a little bit, because I missed out on that time, forming that network. And because I made that change, I was able to meet other people around here, meet other young Black professionals, or just professionals in general, meet people just from other walks of life that I can learn from, meet people that may have a need for a service that I provide, videography especially. I've been to a soca party, and this guy approached me and was like, hey, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I edit for the news. And he's like, oh, you're an editor. Do you do anything else? I'm like, yeah, I'm a videographer. I used to freelance. Hadn't really heard from him outside of that conversation. But there's been times where people have thought about me because of a conversation and me planting that seed, that when another opportunity presented itself, they're like, oh, I know such and such. She does videography. I'm going to connect you. And so that is something that I did not experience in the Bay Area, probably as much as I should have. But, you live and you learn. So that pretty much sums up the last decade. I can guarantee I left a whole lot of stuff out. Thinking about it now, I definitely did. But those are the things that stuck out to me the most. Lastly, I want to say, the things that you do, don't take them lightly. I've had that issue where, I have so many gifts and talents and I don't think much of them. One friend of mine just said, you know how to edit video? That's so cool. That's such a useful skill. And I'm like, I work at a news station with a bunch of people that know how to do that. That's not nothing big. It's so easy now that everybody can do it. But I've done a lot. And although I didn't see it, I realized other people saw it and they felt like it was something special. Just don't take the things that you do or the experiences that you've had lightly, because, people are watching. And like I've mentioned before, the things we go through in life are not always for ourselves or for somebody else. So what I talked about has been helpful, or, just whatever. Be sure to comment, subscribe, and even share this.